Hello guys, what is up? Geebuz here. So in my previous video I promised to post a guide on how to play the Frost Mage, and I realized that I'm not uh, really able to make guides and stuff like that because I don't feel like I'm very good at explaining stuff. But this will more be like my interpretation of how to play Frost Mage and how I do it. Uh, I'm not gonna be long. Go over pretty much the basics of how I do. My my gear item level now is 616, so I'm just about ready to start looking for raid once that comes out, because right now I only got Molten Core and Walled City. I don't even know what that is. I will do Molten Core once this video is done, because I want the mount. Yeah. Anyway, so my specialization is Frost, of course. The talents I've chosen is Evanes or Evanes. I don't know how to pronounce that. Like a deterrence, it allows me to avoid damage taken for 3 seconds. And then Ice Barrier, for obvious reasons. Yeah, lending a hand completed. Awesome. Oh, I had to maximize my window. Yeah, Ice Barrier absorbs damage. Ring of Frost. These three are pretty much just PvP spells. It doesn't really matter which one you choose for PvE. This one incapacitates enemies for 10 seconds, and damage cost to the might. No, limit 10 targets. Okay. Cauterize for survivability. Um, Pretty much a lifesaver. If you take fatal damage, um, you return to 35% health, and it deals 28% uh, of max health as damage for 6 seconds. And combine, once that happens, you just pop this and Ice Barrier, and you will pretty much survive unless you have a great pack of mobs at you that will kill you off anyway. Then just don't bother. Uh, Frost Bomb, because it's amazing when it comes to terms of damage, and also in PvP. If you ever, I've decided to focus on PvE on this guy because I like healing in PvP and arena and stuff like that, because I've done it for like a year on my druid. Um, and then I've chosen Mirror Image for the DPS increase for the burst, and Prismatic Crystal. Now this is a really amazing ability to use on AoE packs for some extra burst damage. It it summons a crystal that only you can attack, and it takes 10% additional damage. And once you deal damage to that target, every other enemy within 8 yards will take that damage divided amongst all of them. So let's say you have 10 targets and you deal 20,000 damage on the crystal, you will deal 2,000 damage on every target around you, which is pretty amazing. It's better than using the Frost Bomb alone without the crystal. This is pretty situational. You can use this on single target. I wouldn't recommend it because most single targets get kited around a lot, like bosses and stuff like that. You have tactics like you have to move the boss around and stuff like that, and there's lots of stuff on the ground that you have to move from, so you don't, unless you've got instant spells to throw on it, it's just gonna be a waste of that spell and 1.5 minute cooldown to no use, pretty much. So and once you hit level 98, you get this spell with your pet called Water Jet, which channels a jet of water on the target, um, and every frostbolt that hits the target during the time it's being channeled will give you one charge of Fingers of Frost, and it's only up for 3.81 seconds. And since you have a cast time on Frostbolt that is, yeah, it's 1.43 now, but I think that's something that if you haven't thrown a Frostbolt in a certain amount of time, you get shorter cast time on the first one, because I think it's up at like 1.9 or 2 seconds cast time for Frostbolt, at least for me, because haste isn't really one of the top stats to go for, because you have so many instants, so you don't really need the haste. And I think Water Jet is affected by haste as well, so the more haste you have, the shorter time the Water Jet is up. Um, so it pretty much plus minus 0. You will be able to get as many frostbolts in with no haste as you would with 10% haste. I think, I'm not sure about this, so don't quote me on it. So I've seen a few people that use this kind of ineffectively, the Water Jet spell. What you want to do is you want to start to cast Frostbolt on the target and then pop Water Jet. And depending on the distance between you and your target, you want to pop this later because it moves really fast up to the target. So if you have like this, you get 40 yards range on that and 45 yards range of that. So if you're at max range, you pretty much just want to wait just before it's done casting, and it will reach the target in time, and you can get 2 frostbolts in, because that's what you want to do. You want to get 2 frostbolts in to get 2 charges of Fingers of Frost, so that you don't waste it. Yeah, and keep the frost bomb up. I like to do it like this. I'm just going to show you real quick. Put the frost bomb up, start throwing frostbolt, and at 50% or 70%, I just start throwing. I don't know what happened there. Wow, I'm just going to try that again, because something went horribly wrong. So, like I said, you wanna cast the water jet after you've started casting frostbolt, like this. Boom, 50%. Start casting water jet and get your frost bomb up, and you get 2 charges of Fingers of Frost right there. You can get 3 charges if you're lucky with the frostbolt, and you deal significantly more damage once you get Frostbomb up, because it deals more damage to the target and all targets around it. I will show you just quickly on how it works on an AoE target with Prismatic Crystal up. You've also got Frozen Orb, which can grant you Fingers of Frost once it hits. So let's see. I will start by building up some Fingers of Frost charges before I put down the Frost Bomb. Prismatic Crystal, sorry. Like this, and I will put that down, and you will automatically target the crystal once you place it down on your target area. And as you can see, I did 12k damage in pretty much no time at all with that, because I had it up on the target. If I do this, you will get lower amounts of damage, because the cleave from Frostbomb is lower if you have it on a different target. And I will show you why that is. Because of Frostbomb that I did that amount of damage on the Prismatic Crystal. This cleaves damage. You deal 10% additional damage to the crystal, and then it spreads out. So if you, like I said, if you have 10 targets, you deal 20,000 damage, you deal 2,000 damage to all targets around it. The thing with Frost Bomb, if you put it on this guy, it will deal 5,946 frost damage to that target, and then 3,716 frost damage to all other enemies within 10 yards. With Ice Lance. So when you have the ability to use the crystal, use it. If you go with that one, some people go with Thermal Void to extend your icy veins. That, I guess that's better for single target DPS like bosses and raids and stuff like that, where you don't have to focus on AoE. And I think you can, with Tome of the Clear Mind, you can change this during the raid. So when you have a big boss that is just single target DPS all the way through, just use Thermal Void. Or if the boss doesn't have to be kited, you can use the crystal to get some damage. But Icy Veins increases your haste or your multi-strike damage if you have the glyph. I don't have it yet. I will buy it after the video is done. I have procrastinated buying it because I've had other stuff to do in the game, or I haven't had stuff to do. I've done other stuff like low-level raids and stuff like that, just for achievements and mounts and whatever. So I hope you get kind of an idea how I play it, and some, if you struggle with DPS, that I've helped you out a little bit, that because there's really not much rotation on the mage as there are for melee classes and other classes with like dots and stuff like that and debuffs. But anyway, so basically what you want to do is cast Frostbolt unless you've got instant Frost Firebolt and instant Ice Lance. Ice Lance is always instant, but unless you have Fingers of Frost, just use Frostbolt until Frozen Orb and Water Jet comes off cooldown. I wouldn't recommend casting, wasting your Fingers of Frost if you only have one charge and no icicles above your head, which is triggered by your mastery. Every time you cast Frostbolt and Frost Firebolt, you get an icicle above your head that deals a certain amount of damage, a percentage of the damage that the Frostbolt or Frost Firebolt dealt. I guess that's it for now. If you found it useful, share, subscribe, like the video. If you didn't find it useful, do what you will with the video. If you have any tips from me, like how I could improve my playstyle, please go ahead and share with me and the rest of the people watching the video in the comment section below. Or if you have a link to a good guide on how to play Frostmage in 6.0.3, then please share, because there's always ways to improve, like rotate your spells in a different way and stuff like that. So yeah, as I said, I think that's it for this video. And as always, feel free to add me on my BattleTag. It's Geebuz2982. We can play some games, we can do some old school raids, we can do some dungeons, we can do pretty much whatever you want to do. I'm always up for some stuff. Always up for something. Yeah, guess that's it. Feel free to add me and we can chat if you just wanna hang out. If you want some tips, if you got any tips from me. So yeah, until next time, have a good one.